Welcome, beautiful souls, to this sacred space. It's not a show, actually. I've come to realize that what we're actually doing here is a transmission, and we're here to awaken our inner wisdom. And oftentimes that happens through heartbreak. And heartbreak comes in so many different ways, so many shapes, forms, relationships to love and to life. And it's hard when we're going through it. And so on this show, we're going to talk all about awakening, and we're going to talk about how awakening sucks and what to do about it. So we're shifting a little bit on the show. I'm still here to answer your questions to relationships, to love, and to life, and to healing heartbreak, and some of the things that are so deep that need to come out and that need to surface and that need to help us be really real and raw and rise. Together we will rise. And it just sort of all culminated for me in my meditation this morning how important it is that that we rise above the chaos of everything that's happening. It might be something in your personal relationship that's happening, it might be something that's happening at work, it might be something that's happening in your community, it might be something that's happening in the world. There is so much happening that can be distractors to what we're here to do. And so if anything I say on my channel doesn't feel like it's resonating for you, or you feel like, this isn't your place, then it probably isn't, because I'm actually not looking for followers on this channel. I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for the brave ones who really want to go deep into the depths of their heartbreak, the things that have caused them disappointment, disrespect, deceit, the relationships that have given them so many opportunities to find out who they really are and the deep innate power that lies within, and that together we awaken that inner wisdom. And we do that through heartbreak. We do that through relationships. We do that through all these things that disappoint, that cause deception, and that are disrespectful. And on our journey as awakened souls here to help planet Earth, here to help humanity, we're going to run into this over and over and over again. And we can only be stronger together. And so this hour or 45 minutes that we spend together every day or every Sunday will be spent helping to awaken through all of these juicy lessons that relationships are here to teach us. So feel free to still put your questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything that's on your heart, in your mind, something that you need to unravel, something that you need to get into. But we're also going to start moving into deeper themes. I realize that organically there's been some themes that start to come through with viewers' questions. And so I'm going to be a little more proactive on pulling through themes and talking about questions that the collective of us that are awakening or who are woken up are having when we're on this journey, and these struggles and these things that come at us that feel sometimes just really difficult to navigate. And so I'm going to come at it from that perspective, where I just have some categories of questions that come forward in general for the collective in this energy pod. I would love, if you're listening live, to make a comment, to question deeper, to add to the conversation if you feel that there's something more that you want to ask, something more that you want. Because I'm bringing through, my goal on this show is to bring through the transmission, to bring through the greater insights, to go beyond the chaos, to go beyond the mind. to go deeply in our hearts, but to go beyond the mind and to get us to a place where we continue to embody the wisdom, that we're embodying the lessons and anchoring in the vibration that we know will change the trajectory of why we're here. Yes, we're here to have a human experience. Yes, we're here to have fun. Yes, we're here to play. And yes, if you're watching this, you're here to help humanity in a way that oftentimes isn't valued in the same way as the material world wants us to believe we bring. So there's going to be some tough questions, some tough reflections, and some tough love for myself and for all of you listening on the show. And so we together will go through a lot of really great questions today. The theme that came through in meditation is that it's about when faith feels fragile. Because there's a lot of times in life when things don't really go our way. And we're like, wait, why is this happening? I'm doing everything I said that I'm supposed to do. I know that I'm supposed to do, and I'm channeling it in. And yet it doesn't always happen. So a lot of the questions today are around faith. I'm just seeing, I want to make time for comments. Yes, this is very truly, very timely for me. So grateful for your experiences, wisdom, and perspective, as we are all struggling these days. But know that we are evolving. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. Evolving individually and collectively. Yes. And thank you for joining, because it is souls like you that are here to make a difference. And so we're going to go through some questions that, again, I'm just channeling the insights from my higher self. I'm also channeling them from my human self, because I've had a lot of experiences in life and I bring a lot of wisdom that I've already embodied. And so I want to share that with any of you, and I want us to share that together, and I want us to rise together in this awakening journey and get through all the reasons why awakening sucks and help us be in a place where awakening is something that we're able to emulate for others to see and feel and experience, so they too can start stepping through. It's hard, it's scary, and sometimes it doesn't feel very rewarding, but it is in the end. And I know this to be true for myself. And there's times where I just also wobble and waver and go, what the fuck is going on? And why is this happening? And why isn't this aligning? And why isn't this moving in a direction that I feel so clear and so called to do? So the first section is about just faith and alignment. And the question is, how do I know if I'm still aligned with my soul's purpose, or if I've drifted off path? And what comes through for this is it's a vibrational frequency that we feel. So if you're on your awakening path, which you are if you're watching, and if you don't feel like this resonates, then just question deeply within if this is the material that you need right now in your life. But when we know that we're a little off our path is when our vibrational frequency feels like it's off. It's like when you're tuning into a radio station and you're not just quite at the clarity of that particular station that you want to listen to, and you feel like it's that kind of frequency that you want to get the clarity on. And when you feel like it's a little off, it may mean you need greater pause, you need more meditation, you need less external stimulation. Maybe it's less movies, maybe it's less happy hours, maybe it's less of whatever it is that creates the static and the noise and the zzz. Even though sometimes that may feel fun, you have to really tune in and say, is this a distraction for me? Or is this really helping me with what I'm here to do in the greater good? That'll start to tell you, like, am I off my path or am I on my path? Like, where are my activities? Are they in that spot that's not quite clear in the radio dial, or is it in that space of clarity? It's a tough place to be, because a lot of times we know we're not in that clear space, and we're trying to get back there. And all I'm suggesting is that it's a bit more of a anchoring in with yourself and a little bit more tough love to say, no, that external, whatever it is, isn't what my internal energy body needs. My energy body needs to be calm, and it needs to feel grounded, and it needs to feel like I can feel the breath coming in through my nose and oxygenating my body. It can be kind of basic, but that's where oftentimes we stumble, is that we don't go back to the basics because the basics aren't valued as doing. And we need to stay in the being, and we need to stay in the body, and we need to stay in the breath, and we need to stay out of the mind and out of the chaos and out of this chaotic world. It may simply mean that you need to stop watching YouTube. I hope you keep watching the channel, but meaning look at your algorithm. What are you being shown? Because it's telling you where you're spending your time. So if you keep getting political feeds, if you keep getting, whatever it is, something about some celebrity, while sometimes that can be entertaining or really chaotic, sometimes that's not what your soul needs. That's not your soul's path. And so only when something really truly is just for like, oh, let's just take a bit of entertainment, or when it's planting seeds, or when it's planting doubt, or when it's making you feel that your value to the world, your love and your frequency isn't valued to the world. That's where you know that I got to take ownership on that radio dial, and I got to do what I need to do to get back to that clarity point. And it's never going to be outside of us. It's always going to be going deeply within. It means quieting the mind. It means opening the heart. And we do that through relationships. Relationships are the best reflectors. Otherwise, we'd just be sitting here all by ourselves if we didn't have other people or other things or our animals or our spaces, our places, other energy to interact with. We would just be sitting here. It'd be very boring. That's why we came to planet Earth, so we could have this dualistic experience. All right, let's go on to the next question. I keep praying and asking for signs, but nothing is showing up. What do I do when I feel abandoned by the universe? This is a good one because the universe is never going to abandon us. Whatever you want to call the universe, you want to call it source, you want to call it God. I have issues sometimes with that word too, because it's so religiously oriented in the minds of many and in the collective, but it doesn't have to be. And it's not that way when I refer to God. It's an energy. It's a beingness, a oneness. It's a being in a very high vibrational space and place where time doesn't exist, money doesn't matter, and anything's possible. So when you feel like nothing's showing up, I would suggest that there's a different lens you can use as to what you're looking at or what you're allowing yourself to see, and going back to the basics of gratefulness, the nuggets, the little things that happen. What's coming to mind is a time when I was living in Bali, and I was like, gosh, I'm just so grateful to be able to have clean feet. Sounds silly, but it was just something that made me feel safe, made me feel like, oh, I can live in a place where I'm not constantly exposed to germs, and I'm not constantly exposed to sickness, and I'm not constantly exposed to what a lot of people are exposed to in the world, especially living in India. When you see this and you see the level of disparity that people have, we have to come back to the gratefulness of the things that we have in our life and the things that we are showing constantly every day and every moment that are so beautiful. They're so beautiful. I have a beautiful candle burning right here. If I could just take a moment and say, thank you for letting me experience the scent of the candle. But most times I brush that off, and I don't even really think about the beauty of the candle, the beauty of the fire, the beauty of the intention that I have set below the candle, that I know is lifting my message to all of my guides and all of my other multidimensional selves that are helping me. But a lot of times I'm so busy down here doing all this stuff, trying to make things happen, that I don't just sit in the connection that I have. And on top of it, we get people that want to come and say, oh, those voices in your head, or, you listen to this or you listen to that. And it's like, oh man, I'm listening to me. I'm listening to me beyond the chaos, beyond the mind, beyond the broken heart. I'm lining up. And that's what we need to do, is keep lining up with why we're here. And that comes in every moment. And I am just as guilty as everybody else of not seeing those small things, not sitting in the gratefulness because I see a bigger vision, or I see something more, or I know I'm here for that, and getting really, really bogged down in that vibrational feeling of it's not here. So we have to listen to the signs, the symbols, and some of them are not nice. Some of the signs are not nice. I got one this morning. It was not nice. I haven't totally tuned into what it meant, but I got the feeling. And I just opened my door and looked out onto my patio. I wanted to just get a feel for the air and what it was like outside today. And there was the most beautiful, it almost makes me cry. Well, it would make me cry, but I'm going to pull it back. Beautiful little yellow bird that died. It obviously hit my window and died right here on my patio. I've never had this happen. My windows aren't even clean. And and I was like, whoa, right? Stops us in our tracks and we go, whoa, we gotta pay attention. Or we can brush it off and say it doesn't mean anything. It's just a bird that died. Bad luck. Hit the window. It's all possible. It's all what you want to see. It's what you want to see between the spaces, between the lines, the spaces between the lines. There was a meditation many years ago that I used to listen to from Wayne Dyer, and he would use the Lord's Prayer. It wasn't so much for me about the Lord's Prayer as it was that he would encourage us to say the words, to visualize the words, Our Father. And in between the words Our and Father, he said, get into the space. Who art in heaven, get into the space between the words. And that's what we need to do, is get in between, because the words are so charged. The words have a meaning that the collective have given it. And we're being asked to step beyond that. Yes, we still know what the words mean. And yes, we still participate in what the words mean, but we have to be able to rise beyond the word, rise beyond the meaning that the collective is giving something, and sit with the deeper meaning as to what it means to us. So I know I've kind of gone around there a little bit on that, but it's about the signs that the universe is giving us. And there's a lot of people that aren't ready to get the deeper sign, and that's okay. We miss a lot of signs. I miss a lot of signs every day. Don't be hard on yourself for what you miss. Take the pause to get into the flow of the know of what it is right now that you're meant to see. Tomorrow, you might see something totally different in the same symbol. So just be in whatever it is that you need to be in, with your heart open and your mind expanded. Heart Traveler, would you share insights about co-creation, horizontal power structures? What comes on that is that, co-creation is, there's so many ways to look at this. And I've studied this for years. I first started with A Course in Miracles and really tried to get the concept of this duality here on this planet. And it's the co-creation. Sometimes, we think, oh, there's God, there's something outside of us or something that's separate, and we're co-creating. And while that can be true, and it is true, We are all of that. We are oneness. We are a multidimensional self. We are having experiences multidimensionally in so many ways. And at the same time, we're just trying to be here and be human and be tuned in and tapped in and experiencing this experience. And at the same time, we have a lot of guidance as to how we wanted in our soul's plan to have this experience, to play out our soul's mission. And so, yes, we're co-creating, and yet at the same time, it's all one. So we're all one in our multidimensional selves, and everyone individually all coming together. And so, for those of you on the awakening journey that you are really, really deconstructing these concepts and constructs, it can get crazy and wobbly. And I feel like the person asking the question is far beyond this, in the sense of, you understand where your role is, and you understand actually this co-creation role that you're being asked to witness. I think that's more of what co-creation in some respects is witnessing our higher selves embodied here and tapping and tuning in. That's why I call it inner wisdom. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it intuition. But we're tapping into that so that we can really rise into a different space and a different place and bring a vibration to the earth that's beyond short and tall, big and small, suffering and bliss, to where we can understand that all of those states exist, but that our goal is to be in what I like to call a blissfully neutral state, which means we experience the highs, we experience the lows, and then we come back to an equilibrium. We come back to a centeredness. We come back to a place that we know to be true for ourselves. And so for me, I do like the words co-creation. I think sometimes we can stumble on the meaning behind it. And I think that, again, just to kind of go back to this, we really want to line up with the balance of the oneness within ourselves, the oneness with our creator, if you will. But we are also the creator, because we've created our lives. We came into this lifetime with a soul's plan, with a divine blueprint, with a reason to be here. And sometimes, as I said at the beginning of the show, awakening sucks because it's hard. It's like the butterfly coming out of the, what is it called? The crystalline, where, you're really just trying to get your wings and break through a lot of heaviness that's actually here. Now, horizontal power structures, I don't know exactly what you're referring to in those particular words. But I'm guessing that you're referring to the elements of the constructs in this third dimensional reality, and that there is, this heaviness of these structures, and how do we break through these confines of what a majority of reality believes. Reality being, that's also a really loose word, and as far as definition, because it's a simulation that we're in. I do believe that we are simulating ourselves to have this experience. And so, there's a lot of different structures right now that are heavily in place, but they're also at a precipice where they're being broken up. And there's crazy people at the wheel driving the bus, but there's a divinity in it, which is just bizarre. And here to break down some of maybe what you're calling horizontal power structures. And I'm happy to elaborate if you want to say something more about your definition of horizontal power structures. But again, I think it comes back to lining up. It comes back to lining up with source and our higher self, getting beyond the chaos of the mind and getting beyond the heartbreak of the heart, which doesn't mean not acknowledging it. It means going into it, diving deep and feeling it and opening our hearts more, as opposed to closing them when people disappoint, deceive, disrespect us. All right, let's go on to the next question. Can we lose our soul calling, or does it just evolve into something else over time? I don't think that we evolve into something else when it comes to our soul's plan. I do believe that we have set many points on our journey. It's still a flow, it's not set in stone, because how we sort of get there is our free will. Planet Earth has free will. And that's why I think so many souls are so excited to come here, because it's like it's it's a playground, but it just doesn't feel very fun sometimes, because we can make the choices that we want to make, and we can take as long as we want to get there. We can take years to get to a place that we potentially could get to in a month if we decided that choice. But it's not to make anyone feel like, oh, I made a bad choice. I don't think we make bad choices. I think we just make another decision, and we keep going and we keep going. It's when we stop making decisions, it's when we stop taking the risks, it's when we stop moving forward that we, yeah, we get into sort of that wobble of not quite being in the full flow of the river. It's like we get stuck on a branch that's going downstream, but we're still stuck. And there's always a reason. There's always a lesson in the branch being stuck in the flow of the river. And that's where we've got to keep going in and not judging ourselves, not listening to the mind mess that wants to tell us that we're not supposed to be there in that shitty place, or that place that's not exactly in our flow of our calling. There's a reason why you're there. And the more we surrender into, I'm stuck on the branch. Show me what I'm supposed to see. Why am I here on this branch? That's where you're going to start to get the deeper insights. And I know for myself that a lot of times when I'm stuck on that branch, I'm like, damn it, I've been on this branch before too. That even makes it worse. I know that there's a deeper lesson that I've called in to learn, and that it's for myself always, first and foremost, for me to remember back to wholeness. We're always healed and whole. It's just a remembrance. But that I can also help leverage that deeper lesson and share it with someone else. Share it with someone else that might be stuck on the branch, and say, yeah, let me give you a hand. And here's the trick. I don't like the word trick. Here's the tip. Is that when you extend your hand back to someone who's stuck on that branch that you've already been on, maybe multiple times, you have to understand the balance of your hand in the energetic pull. Because if they want to continue to pull you down and back onto the branch, there's this really critical spot where you have to say, is it time to let go? And those moments are not easy moments. That is when, oftentimes for me, awakening sucks big time, because I don't ever like to let go of someone's hand. I like to hang on and hang on and hang on and tell you can do it. But everyone has free will. And if they don't want to do it, whatever that do it is, they don't want the growth, they don't want to get off the branch, then you have to still keep going on your soul's plan. That's your evolution in your soul's plan, but your soul's plan doesn't change. It just might take a detour on a branch for a little while. And there's depth in that lesson too. So if you stuck yourself on a branch that you've been on before with someone, it's still okay. You're calling in a deeper, deeper, deeper lesson that's going to help you, and it's going to help others in the future. Because we're here to embody. We're here to not only awaken and channel our own inner wisdom, we're here to embody it, to be it. And when we are it, then we can shine the light and show the way, and we can help others. We can help others see the way. We can help others feel the way. And that's where it gets wobbly sometimes, because it's not a traditional way. It's not a way that all of humanity understands what we're doing here on planet Earth, raising our frequency, clearing our programs, dismantling our belief systems that got programmed in us, oftentimes for good reason, to survive. And sometimes, they were just part of the plan so that we could feel the suffering and know the difference. Okay, let's keep going. How do I keep believing in miracles when life keeps giving me setbacks? One word comes to mind, and it's surrender. Just surrendering into whatever it is that you think you should see that you're not, because you think you're missing a miracle. And when we think we're missing a miracle, it's sort of like how the Wright brothers couldn't have figured out a way to fly a plane by contemplating how it wouldn't work. They had to continue to contemplate how it would work against all beliefs of everyone else, that how is it possible that a piece of metal or a piece of wood or whatever it was, the first airplane, could actually get off the ground and fly in a plane. So I think it's also, again, the lens of which we look at things, because believing in miracles is one thing, and embodying a vibrational frequency that allows you to experience the miracle is the difference. Because if we think we have to see it, then we're really not believing it, because we're not embodied in the frequency of what the miracle is that we're asking for. And so I think the word belief oftentimes gets a little messy, because we think we're believing in something, but it's a construct of the mind. It's an idea that we've attached ourselves to, and there's a lot of hooks in that idea, in that belief, because of how it's set up. It's like how this whole thing is set up for us to think that, that there are there are rules and laws in a sense, but they're also there to be broken and to be expanded and to be seen in a different way. So I don't think that it's that you're not seeing, well, you are not seeing the miracles, but it's that you're not opening yourself to the frequency of the miracle to experience it. And so stop trying to see it and try to feel it and experience it in a different way. And I think you can get deeper into this through meditation and observation without judgment. And that's also the tough part, isn't it? Without judgment. How do we do that without judgment? We were born to judge. We were born to evaluate. We were born to observe, right or wrong. So we got taught that really early on. And does it always have to be right or wrong? It doesn't. It's not about right or wrong. It's about, how do I vibrationally feel when I'm in it? How do I feel? But when we get numbed out, from here up, it's hard to feel. And so that's what we do on this awakening journey, is come back to that somatic place of feeling. And then sometimes we're not rewarded for that either. And that's also why awakening can suck, because people don't acknowledge that our sensitivities, our ability to feel our feelings, is actually a freaking superpower. It doesn't make us weak. It doesn't make us lost, wandering. No, it makes us know how we feel about something, and the power in that is so important. And we need to continue to show people that we can feel, and that we can move through feelings that are less desirable, and we can change the frequency so that we can then go back to a frequency that is more desirable. Yeah, we're here, we're going to dip, and we're going to go way up, and we're going to come here. So that's really, I think, the challenge here, is believing in those miracles in a way that is about embodying the miracle, not looking to see it. And then it does come to us. Okay, there's a little bit more here from Heart Traveler. Just want to vertical structure examples: boss and employee, teacher and student. Horizontal structure, all involved are autonomous. Power with rather than power over. Yeah, thank you for that for that clarification. I think what comes forward right now as I read that is, like if you're looking at a boss and employee in this social system, there is a hierarchy. This is my boss, and I need to listen to what they say, and they do my performance evaluations, and while all of that is true, because that's the social structure that we're in this simulation, oftentimes, if let's say you're the one who is awakened and you're the employee, you're actually leading from the soul. And that's where I think it gets so tricky, because we fall, these aren't the right words, but I want to say we fall prey to this idea that we're lower. And I don't get this for you. I'm just saying that collectively, that we feel like we're in a lower place because of hierarchy that's given in this fictitious structure. And yet you are the one with the glow. Or you could be the one that's the boss, and that's great too. And then you're just shining the light out, and you're leading with your soul. Leading with your soul means vulnerability. It means discernment of when to be vulnerable, how to be vulnerable, how to show the lessons. What's the parable in the Bible about the fish? And basically, like, not to just give the man a fish, but show him how to fish. That's the spiritual, the intuitive soul guidance that we give others in our everyday life. I've seen it so many times that I'm thinking back to my corporate life, and that I'm just going to use a loose example, but where a janitor, someone who did the cleaning, was actually the way shower and the light spreader, and the one that actually was helping drive that corner of the organization. Wasn't paid for it, like, as far as the impact that they had. They were contributing in a selfless way, almost, to where they brought their love, their light, their smile. Oh, here's an example that's coming to mind. I was just in New York City, and I was in a taxi cab, and got into the taxi and said, "Hi, how are you?" And the guy said, "I'm great. I'm good every day." And it felt genuine. And so, oh, that's great. And we're driving down the road, and at one point I thought the taxi wasn't going to keep going. And it's one of those moments where you go, and I don't know, I didn't put too much thought into it. I was in a rush. I was trying to get to the airport. But it's like a little earth angel, he obviously was seeing as best he could, and it felt very genuine. He was seeing the beauty in life, that he probably had a taxi, that he could make the money on the ride, that the sun was shining. He was back to the basics. Just like the Balinese, when I lived in Bali for that 5.5 years, I was always learning every day from sometimes the poorest people. And I'm not putting the value on the money. I'm just saying that society sometimes puts the value on the position, the placement, I'm the boss, you're the employee, I'm the student, I'm the teacher. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's a yin and a yang. It's the masculine, feminine. It's the balance. It's the way that we learn, tall and short. So while there's, a real 3D aspect to this system, which is helpful in many ways, it's going beyond that. It's going beyond that as leaders in this awakening, as leaders in this, soul leading kind of way. That's what we're here to do, is lead with our souls. And it doesn't mean we wear our heart on our sleeves. We can at times, but with discernment. So we're here having a very human experience, which can be challenging at times. And I think that's why I'm being called to have this channel to help awaken others, but also to help all of us, if you want to call us unicorns. And, I say that kind of tongue in cheek, the unicorns run in herds, so that we can start joining our light and not feel like we're just running with the torch by ourselves. And also coming back to, you don't need people to follow you. You need to keep going and showing them how to do it and let them make their own choices, whether they're ready or not. And that's the toughest part. Because when you got the torch, you're like, I know the way, I know a better way. I know, I've embodied. And yet we have to just allow people to line up and make decisions for themselves, whether they're ready to go. And a lot of people are going to sit for a while and they're not going to go. And so that's where the analogy of the log comes in, where, sometimes we have to let go. And one other example comes in. I know when I first got A Course in Miracles many, many years ago, I like to call him my spiritual healer. He would tell me, Beth, I've given this book to so many people, and I have to say that it's so interesting that it seems like it takes people about 10 years to actually pick up the book. It's like it sits there and it marinates, and it's like this seed that's waiting to sprout. Of course, that's not true for everyone. It wasn't true for me. I picked it up and I got right into it. But I started witnessing, that's kind of the thing. It's like everybody's got to do it on their own time. And the best way we can help others is to embody the vibration and awaken our inner wisdom ourselves so that they can see an example of it and share and move forward in that way so that we can run together and all have our torches, all illuminating planet Earth, as opposed to feeling like we're sitting with our torch, wondering where all the followers are. No, we need leaders. We're all here to be leaders in this movement. All right. Thank you for the hearts. Okay, let's keep going. So here's some other questions. I'll get into a few of them, and then we're going to be kind of down to the hour, and we'll have to continue the other categories of this theme of faith feels fragile. And I'm also going to be opening the Awaken Inner Wisdom membership. So the topics that we talk about today will be topics that we go deeper into with more conversation, where voices can be heard. It's on Zoom. You can go to bethbell.me. You'll find out more. I think it's bethbell.me/community. And you'll find out how to sign up for the Awaken Inner Wisdom membership, where we can dive deeper into more conversation around some of these awakening topics and why awakening sucks. Okay. What if I'm staying in a relationship because I'm tired of being alone, but I know it's not aligned? And this is so true for me oftentimes, and for many others on this journey, because especially as women, and forgive me if that seems sexist, but I feel that there's so many women that are waking up at exponential levels, and men, but it feels like there's more of a mass of women, and that oftentimes it can feel like a challenge to find more awakened, aligned men. And I think our role as the female feminine is also to help men awaken. So it doesn't always mean that the alignment has to be like this. Sometimes it's not. And most of the times it's not. And that's where we're sort of doing this balancing act of, how long do I have my arm extended onto the branch? If someone wants to step through their own awakening, to get their own lessons, to get the learning, and to embody a higher vibration, to get out of their own suffering, to dismantle their beliefs, to get into the things that are no longer serving them, people have to want to do this on their own. And if you're in a relationship that isn't aligned with the work, it's time to get out. It doesn't always mean that you're 100% aligned on where you are in your spiritual awakening ascension journey. There's a big difference. The difference is, are they ready to do the work? So, staying in a relationship because I'm tired of being alone, I get it, because we want others who can support our uniqueness, our expanded consciousness, our expanded, I don't even like to say belief system, because it's at some point it's not really a belief as much as it is an embodiment, a knowingness of what we're here to do, who we really are, and the wisdom that we are embodying. A lot of people don't get it, won't get it. Maybe won't get it for many lifetimes. And so we have to have that discernment around support and who really wants to support. They may like the idea of supporting you, but if they don't really love where you're at in your ascension journey, and they can't get the beauty of the work that you've done and value that above and beyond any traditional role, job, yeah, if they're not getting that, they're not able to get it. It's not a judgment, it's not bad, it's not good, it just is. And so in that case, then being alone is the place you're going to have to be until you've done your own work. That next level, I know I'm tired of it too, that next level of ascension, because, love drives us to do the ascension journey. It's the beauty and the curse, is that big love drives us. It is so fun to experience. The heartbreak sucks, but when the heart breaks open, more light can come in, and we can get bigger, and we can get brighter, and we can embody more if we choose to. And so that's why we have the take the state of the heart assessment. Find out where your heart is. Is it blocked? Is it broken? Is it healing? Is it whole? There's 5 steps back to wholeness. So even if your heart is whole right now today, it might be broken tomorrow for various reasons. It doesn't always have to be romantic love. And we want to have that toolbox in place to be able to get ourselves back to wholeness, get ourselves back to the anchor, get ourselves back to the connection, get ourselves back to the alignment, because so many people don't have that spiritual toolbox that you've built. And so that spiritual toolbox is the value that money cannot buy. And when people don't respect that toolbox, that's where we need to use the discernment to keep going and to find people that can support the value of that toolbox that we've built. And so while it might not be with a beloved for a while, it might be that you have to go back to, not have to go back to, but that you allow yourself an opportunity to be back with friends, family, people who see you and love you and support you and surround you with the beauty that you represent on the planet. So that's really the place that you want to be, is back to your own inner wisdom. And sometimes that means being alone. Sometimes that means being grounded in knowing who you really are and what you're here to really do. All right, we're down to the hour. I so appreciate each week when you're here. Please, if you want to get deeper into some of these topics, next week we'll continue on, but I would love to see you in the Awaken Inner Wisdom membership. We can go deeper. We can have more live conversations. And each week at 11 a.m. on Sundays, I love seeing you here on the show. I love your comments, your support, your love, and we are rising together. So thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, wishing you much bliss and love on the journey. Namaste.